that you go back and watch that session a couple of times because there's so many golden nuggets. I want to say John absolutely body slammed it. And how many of us really loved that mindset adjustment? It was just so on point, right? Because I think that once we elevate ourselves to thinking so much higher, so much bigger, I promise you, amazing things are going to happen to you in your business.
Right.
Now, in today's session, we're going to have Ms. Tanya Eliza. Oh, settle down. I know this is the best news of the day. She's going to spearhead us in the conversation of communication, building relationships, right? Because we now know that we gotta be a human first and a marketer second. How do we show up as the best human that we can? How can we relate so we can lead people to where they need to go? We're also gonna talk about, I know this is gonna be an exciting one, warming up the algorithm. So I want you to make sure you got your pen and paper handy, but before we dive into this gorgeous curriculum, I do wanna give you a couple of updates. Number one, we now have loaded all of the PDFs you need so far and the recordings of the previous 2 sessions into unit number 1. So as we're done with the recording, we're going to continue to archive, and that way everything is going to be there for you in order. You can go pull the documents during lunch break. We're going to upload the rest of the PDFs you're going to need for the second half of the day so you can be nice and prepared. And in the announcements piece of this group, you'll see that there's now 2 featured graphics. Graphic number 1 is for questions that you have for day 1. So as you have your questions, right, make sure that you are, watching us live, because we're probably going to answer a lot of the questions right now in your head as we continue to layer the content on top of each other. But that is there for you. So before we wrap up the day, we can ensure that you are on point. So be doing that with the Q&A. And then the second graphic, did you guys see it? It is a different color. It is a joyful color because I believe let's bring joy to your eyeballs and to your whole body. The other graphic you will see in there is your reporting back to us. What we want to know.
And also, I want to point out one thing too, because we did give you a lot in the first part of the day. I don't want you guys over posting. So, like we gave you some ideas how to post in the morning, and then the OMGA did a thing, then Facebook Live. Like, you should only have maybe 1 post that you're doing out of all of those, and then the other post ideas, maybe spread them out till later today or tomorrow.
Or
if you already
stories.
did it, I was going to say that.
I read your mind.
But if you already did it, that's fine. Just typically you want to spread out posts that are public on the newsfeed 3, 5, 7 hours, depending on what you got going on. Like, you do a post and if it's hard, just let it ride for a little while, right? And then everything else you can post. Like, some of us, we just have so much on our mind and we just want to keep sharing. That's what stories are for, right? It's just 24 hours of content. So if you're not posting stories or you have a lot on your mind, just try to do less on the newsfeed, on the the public posts, and then the rest can be in your story, which, by the way, your stories, you can change the settings. So those are public also. So people are going to see that as well. Hope that helps.
Beautiful. That really helps. All right, Miss Tanya Eliza, are we ready for you?
Hey, I hope you guys are ready. So this is fun. I get to learn some new technology with you guys.
You're doing a beautiful job.
Guys,
we can learn from this. We can learn from this. So you got to pivot.
You gotta pivot because all right, you guys, so I'm super excited to go over our next session because it's all about communication with people. It is all about taking your posts and turning those into business conversations, okay? And there is an art to this. I have had thousands and thousands of conversations out on social media, and we tweak little things inside of those conversations to make sure that we're getting better interaction. And we're not wanting to be salesy or weird or have uncomfort, because at the end of the day, your prospects that you are talking to, who could be potential customers or even teammates if you're having a business conversation, you guys are going to be asking themselves, if you're asking them to share, they're asking themselves, can I do what you're doing? And the more comfortable that you make the process, the more authentic that you make the process, the more human you are, they're going to see that as something fun and exciting that they can also implement into their lives. So that's also the goal of having these conversations with people, is having fun with it. I don't think I put this in my training, but I really want to touch on it so I don't forget. I did train when I did a talk out in California recently, and I said, one of the ways that you can have so much fun with your conversations and your comments is to use the gifts, right? You guys know what the gifts are? Gifts, right? Drop a GIF in the comment section below if you guys know what a GIF is, to show everybody else what a GIF is. But like, there's so many funny GIFs that you can use when you're having conversations with people or prospecting or even answering questions that people have. The more fun and lighthearted that you make the conversations with people, the more likely that they are to carry that conversation on with you. And everybody wants to carry on conversations with people that make them feel good, that make them laugh, that put them in a good state. So also to you guys, a lot of comments I've been going through, and somebody actually sent me a message that said, when you're streaming the session here on your phone, they've been getting really good internet service. You have to remember, like, everybody on planet Earth right now is having trouble with streaming. So it might not be our end all the time. It might be just the internet in general. So maybe try a different device. You have to like log on and come back on. We're trying to all work and navigate this thing together. But a lot of people have been saying the streaming on their phone have been actually working really well. So maybe that's a little tip for you guys as well. So let's get into it. I'm going to move over. I've got some slides that you definitely want to bring up, because there's going to be some scripts and such that I want to share with you, okay? So communicating with different people. Actually, hold on one sec. I wanted to hide that, but you know, there we go. Oh, there. Okay. So communicating with different people, all right? It is very important to match and mirror in conversation. So this is just a little bit of an advanced communication strategy, but that's why you guys are here, right? Is to learn all of this. So when you're communicating with people, I like to mirror and match with them as much as possible. So what does that mean? I try to pay attention to their language that they're using with me. If they're like more fun and using slang in their communication with me, then want to kind of be that back to them. If they're a little bit more professional, then I want to be a little bit more professional with them. So I try to do also a little bit of reconnaissance work on who I'm talking to. Go and check out somebody's profile before you even engage in conversation with them, just so that you know how to engage in conversation with them. The worst thing that I really just love when people reach out to me, or they try to prospect me, or they try to send me a message and they haven't done any research on me and I'm just a number on the prospect list, right? So be human and don't just like look at people out there on social media as a number on your prospect list, right? Really find time to engage with people. This is where most people are having the most results on social media, is they have gotten really good at being a connector with people. And this is really, really, really important. So that's matching and mirroring, just remember that. Genuine compliments go a long way. Okay, so whenever I start a conversation with somebody, I try to find something authentic to compliment them on. So if somebody drops a comment on one of your posts, like take 30 seconds to go to their Facebook profile and look at maybe the last few posts that they did, like them, engage with them, and then come back to that conversation and be like, oh my gosh, I just checked out your portfolio. I saw that you just posted a picture of you and the kids over at Disneyland. That's so cool. I was just there a few months ago, or whatever relatable conversation that you can have. And then just say, hey, I also noticed that you have this beautiful way of posting, and you know, you really know how to engage on social media. That's really cool. So find something to authentically compliment somebody with when starting conversations with them, because you're gonna know like, just think about it. When somebody reaches out to you and they tell you something warm and fuzzy that's a genuine compliment to you, doesn't it make you want to continue that conversation with somebody versus somebody who's just like, hey, I saw that you like my product. Do you want to buy them? No, like, go to their profile and be like, oh my gosh, I noticed, like, thank you so much for reaching out and dropping a comment. I went over and I checked out your profile and I noticed that, you know, you've got this beautiful family. You know, is that your whole family, or, you know, just some of them, you know, and just kind of have that genuine, authentic, complimentary conversation starter with them. It'll go a long, long way. Okay. Have fun. Your prospects will match your energy. Here's the thing. It's so funny how we're all really good at having fun on social media and being our own natural, quirky selves until we join a business and we're like, oh my gosh, now we got to put our business hat on. And oh my gosh, now we have to act all professional. We have to act all weird. It is so weird, right? So the transition in my business where I learned this, I said to myself, I'm going to have more fun on my social media. I am going to, when people start asking me serious questions, instead of answering them back with a serious answer, I'm going to send them a funny gift. And I'm going to make light of our conversation. I'm going to make people feel really good. So some people will be like, for example, I'll give you an example of how I do this. How does the compensation plan work, right? You sometimes get that question and then you're like, oh my gosh, I got to answer the compensation plan question and I hate answering this question and it's so complicated. I normally answer it with just a funny gift. You know, if I'm talking to somebody that I know that I can use, I can mirror match that language, there's a gift in that you can use where there's like this girl, it's one of my favorite ones. There's this girl doing a snow angel in like a whole pile of money. And so you guys would be so impressed of what kind of response we get if you just answered that question with the gift. And then of course, like you might have to say, hey, listen, how much money are you looking to make this worth your while? We're going to get into a lot of those objection handling scripts and things later, but I just want to let you know, have fun because your prospects will match your energy. If you want to have an easy time with people in conversation and prospecting them, then you need to start with that energy first, and they'll lead and grab onto that energy second, and it'll make it so much easier and more fun for both of you guys. So please, please, please just remember that, all right? Use your leadership, you guys. So if you get somebody, and you guys, I even do this too, to this day. Now, do I need to use my leadership in my network marketing business to help me close prospects? Me, I don't. I've been doing this over a decade. I could close prospects all day long just because I've been doing this so long. I don't need the help of anybody. However, I still lean on my leadership. And the reason for this is because I want my prospect to know that this is bigger than just me and the presentation that they just watched or the conversation that we're just having. This is bigger than just me. And they want to feel that too. So I definitely still pop my leadership in three-way conversations collaboratively so we can work as a team to have a really fun conversation with my prospects. And so I would encourage that you do that. Now, some of you guys might be saying, I don't have a team or I don't have leadership that can help me. And that's fine. At one point, I never had leadership that can help me either. And I just made my own. So I would grab maybe a downline and I would say, hey, if I've got some interested prospects, we all kind of like be put in a three-way chat. And we're going to learn about how we do that in a minute. But find somebody that you can use as leadership and work as a team with, even if you don't have leadership. I'm sure you do. You can go upline to upline, but you could even go sideline. You could go downline. You could find a partner to work with in having these conversations and making it bigger than just you. Share stories that relate. So when you're having conversations with your prospects, you guys, I see so many people that they answer factual questions with factual answers. Now, I want to warn you on that is very dangerous, okay? Very rarely, I would say 10% of the population needs to have factual answers to factual questions. The other 90% of the population needs to hear a story. Stories sell, facts tell. We want to sell. We don't just want to tell. We don't want to be like that. And we also want people to make decisions faster. I'll give you an example. I used to do, before Facebook Messenger, I used to do a lot of three-way calls with my team over the old school with that telephone, right? So I would be on the call with some of my teammates, and I get on the call to kind of lead the call, and they're asking me questions. I would say, hey, what did you like best? Do you see an opportunity for yourself? Is there anything else you need to know before we get you started? That opens it up to them asking some questions. So they asked me questions, and what I used to do, you guys, for so many years, because I didn't know how to do this, no one taught me, I used to answer their questions with the factual ways that, logically you would answer the question. So if they're asking me, well, what's the ingredient in this product that helps with your skin? What are the ingredients? And I'm like, okay, I have to read out the ingredients. You guys, people don't care. Like I said, 90% of the people out there don't care about the ingredients. They care about what it can do for them, and they want to see how it's helping other people. So what I would say, even if I knew the answer to what all the ingredients were in my product, I actually wouldn't tell them. I would say, you know what, I'm really glad that you asked that question. I want to share a story with you. I don't know all the nitty-gritty about the science of the product and why it works. All I know is that it works. Here's exactly how it's helped me, or here's exactly what it's done to a friend of mine or other customer of mine, and here's exactly how it's helped them. And I would share a story. I was talking to a prospect the other day, and I noticed my prospect was a teacher. And so I knew somebody on our team that was a teacher that created about $1,000 extra per month into her side business on top of being a teacher and doing what she still loved. But the extra $1,000 was able to help her contribute to her family fund and family travel fund and help them save faster to a Disneyland trip. So what I did was I told that story to my prospect. I said, hey, look, here's just an example of what you can do with this comp plan. And I shared a story, okay? I shared that story. So you guys don't want to go into sharing all these facts. Number one, we all agree that that's exhausting when we have to share facts versus stories. So we're going to get into creating our story banks, and it's going to be really, really powerful asset for you in your business. And I'm sure you're definitely going to love it. I already talked about this a little bit, that teacher story, but I always like to find a common ground. So finding a common ground is how do you really relate to your prospects and to your people. And you guys, I don't love calling people prospects. It's just me. I love calling them new friends, potential new friends. I've always had this thing, and maybe if it helps you guys, maybe get over a mindset block that maybe you have. I used to have this mindset block, and I hated thinking that I was going out there prospecting or hunting for people. So actually what got me over that mindset block was I'm going out there and I'm making new friends. And so with your new friends that you're out there making, that could be potential new teammates or customers of yours, you want to find a relatable common ground. So go to their profile, look at their latest posts, right? Look at what it is that they're into. Take your time to be a human and actually learn about the person that could be potentially working with you and helping you and or becoming a customer of yours. It's so critical. Look at the place that they live. So here's what I would do, okay? I'm gonna give you a pure example, like showing this in action, okay? Let's say on the post that you made, the post that you guys just made on our last implementation session, let's say you got likes and you got comments on there, right? And you want to go and turn those into conversation. So if I did a businessy type post where I did a selfie with me at my computer, or a selfie with me outside in my computer, and I said something like, oh my goodness, I am so grateful that I have the opportunity to be able to work from my laptop at home with all that's going on in the world today. I'm so glad that I have that opportunity. And then let's say you get a bunch of likes or comments or just likes, and you're like, well, how do I turn a like into business conversation? I would look at who liked your stuff, give a look at their profile, look at their latest posts, find out a little bit about them. One thing that you could look at to find a conversation starter or common ground is the place that they live. So let's say I noticed that, Michelle lived in, let's say, Chicago, right? And it says, normally it has that information on their Facebook profile, right? So I would maybe reach out to Michelle and say, hey, Michelle, super cool of you to like my post that I just posted about me working at home from my laptop. Oh my goodness, I'm so grateful for this opportunity right now. I hope you're holding up. I just wanted to connect with you. I noticed that you liked my post, and I wanted to find out a little bit about you before reaching out. And I went over to your Facebook profile, and I noticed that you've got some really great posts about this, that, and the other. I also noticed that you live in Chicago. Is that current and up to date? Is that where you live and is that your primary resident area? I love Chicago. I've got a friend, Paulina, that lives there. I try to make it out to there once a year. Starting the conversation, finding out a little bit about them. And Jan says, what if they're not a huge social media person? You can find something that you can find a common ground on that you can start a conversation with. Maybe they just got some really good profile pictures or something like that. Look to see if they have any kids or family, because if you have kids or family, could you relate to a conversation starter with them using kids and family? Also, maybe if they have pets, right? I don't have kids, but I have fur babies. So maybe they have some fur babies and you've got fur babies. So maybe you connect on that common ground. Maybe, and you can see, like, depending on how they have their profile set. Now, some people don't have all of this information set publicly, but that's okay. Find what you can. Some people have their occupation or where they work listed in their profile. So when you go look about, you learn more about, and you go and find out, like, they work at, maybe they work as a mortgage broker. And I know I used to be in finance. I could use that as a common ground, right? And I would say, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I noticed in your profile on Facebook that you do mortgages. Is that still something that you do quite regularly? I used to do mortgages, and I used to do car and auto lease financing myself. Oh my gosh, what a time to be in that industry, right? So again, finding your common ground. Oops, let me organize and operate my slides like a sane woman on a Saturday. What do they do for fun? So again, you can go and look at their pictures, and you can find out maybe what they're into. I know I was just talking with this one person on Facebook the other day, and they were really into boating and water sports. Oh my gosh, I'm totally into boating and water sports too. So we had that common ground, and we started the conversation and led the conversation on that ground. Because the thing is, guys, the mountains say this all the time, be human first. And if we go into just straight business, it's like we're going for the jugular, and people are like this, like they're standoff. And you don't want to cause resistance in the conversation. You want to open it up. You want to let them know that you're human, that you're great, you're fun. And then that opens up to other things. And some of these conversations might even turn into, hey, what is it that you do? Like, they might even ask you, and because you're asking them those same questions, right? So here's an example script, and you guys, we've got all the documents posted, and I can't remember, Nadia said at the beginning, I think, I know that she was telling me before we broadcasted live, I can't remember, but we created a units section for you guys to keep all of the scripts and the sessions organized. So inside of the group here, instead of putting them in the file section, we'll organize them in the units section for you guys.
Yes.
Because it's organized that way. Oh, and she did say yes.
Yes. Unit 1, everything is there.
Unit 1, everything is there, you guys. I love it. So here's an example script of what I would use all the time, okay? Now, this is an example script of reaching out to somebody that is maybe on your friends list on Facebook, okay? So on your friends list on Facebook, my conversation would start maybe the way that we were already talking about there. And then my transition to business might go, hey, the reason why I wanted to connect is ... And now there's many ways to do this. I'm just giving you one of the ways that you guys can test and you can try. And I've tested and it works really well, okay? And then here's what it would see. I thought of you because I know you might have some good connections over in Chicago, okay, right? Using that Chicago example, I have a product, or you could say I have a business that crossed my desk, and I think once you check it out, you might really get as excited as I did. Do you have 15 minutes right now? You might know some good people that you could refer me over to. So there's many different facets of this. They might say, like, what is it? And there's a reasons why I actually constructed the script the way that I have, and I use it the way that I do. You guys could add your own slang, flair, personality to it. But I found the common ground, okay? The common ground is, or something to relate to or talk about or use, would be like the fact that they live in Chicago. Or maybe it was, you know, hey, I noticed that you're in mortgages. You know, I work with other mortgage brokers. I work with other mortgage individuals. And I was just wondering, you know, and you guys, this is a good, I've kind of tested this in an indirect way, and I've tested it in a direct way. And I've actually found that the indirect way does work a little bit better, but they both work. So you see, the indirect way is you might know some people that you could refer me to. But indirectly, they're going to be taking a look at it, and if they see a fit for themselves, they might be curious for themselves and say, hey, I'm actually kind of interested in this myself. And then we can have that conversation. So, you know, let's say somebody comments, right? Go check them out. You know, you're having that conversation. You're talking about the common interest being like the place that they live was Chicago. Just be like, hey, the reason why I wanted to have this conversation or chat, or the reason why I wanted to connect further with you is I thought of you because you might know some good connections over in Chicago. That's where you said you live. I have a product or business. You could say either one, doesn't matter. If you lead more with the product, say product. If you lead more with the business, say business. Whatever you lead mostly with. Cross my desk. I think once you check it out, you might get as excited as I did, right? Do you have 15 minutes right now? Or whatever the time frame is for somebody to view your information. It might be 20 minutes for you. It might be 15, might be 5, maybe a sizzle call, whatever you're using. And we're going to talk more about the ATM strategy that has worked really well for us and how to get it set up for you with your business. Okay? So very simple. And you guys, the magic is in the numbers. So don't get discouraged if you use this a couple of times and nothing happens. I mean, I showed my team the other day on a team call how many people on my tracker, because I track all of my prospects, and I basically take, I keep track of everybody that tells me no, as well as everybody that tells me yes. And everybody that tells me no for that month, I kind of transfer them onto a different tab on my Excel spreadsheet or my Google sheet. And I keep track of all of those because I like to show my team that I have also like 484 no's that I've received in the last 2 years of being with my company. That is inspiring to my team, but it also shows that even the best of us get no's, and you have to go through the no's to get the yeses, or you have to get through the ignores. Like, do people still ignore me on social media? And when I'm messaging them, yes, they do. They ignore the best of us. So don't get discouraged on that, but just be humble to the process of just doing this enough times. And like I said, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person and the right thing to the wrong person. So remember that, okay? I love to say, don't get too excited and vomit on your prospects. Posture up. They are looking to you for guidance. They are looking to you for leadership. They're looking to you to make them feel good, all right? So maintain control and qualify as well. So here's what I'm going to say about that. Okay, let's say you're having conversations. I don't know how many guesses, actually. I have to go and look. Quite a few. But you know, I'm doing the thing every day. My goal is 2 to 5 presentations a day. You guys should also have a goal of how many presentations you do a day based on your monetary goals that you guys have. So maintain control and qualify, all right? What do I mean by that? If somebody says to me, yes, I'm interested, or tell me about this, or like, okay, yes, I do have 15 minutes right now. Then I'll say, okay, great, here's what we're going to do next. And then I put them through our process. You guys are going to see the process build up on top of each other. But if somebody says, I don't have 15 minutes right now, I'm going to say, okay, well, do you know how soon you would have 15 minutes? And then maybe we can schedule something for then. I don't love to throw people into my presentation or my ATM group, whatever it is you guys do, without having some sort of a commitment of when we're going to look at the information. So that's why I always ask, do you have 15 minutes right now? Okay, if not, when do you? And then we can carry on the conversation at that point in time. So I like to maintain control of my conversation and my presentation process. And I do like to get some juicy details before sharing what it is that I do, or sharing about the products. So if you did a product post on social media, and maybe it was a skinny jeans post, let's say that you're selling weight loss stuff or whatever, what you might want to do is you might want to, you do the post and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy I can finally fit back into these jeans. It's been years and years. I'm really excited about this new weight management program I started taking just a few weeks ago, or whatever the authenticity of that post would be, something like that. And then say you had people post like, I want more information, tell me more. I typically like to ask them a few questions and find out a little bit about them before throwing my presentation information at them or throwing them into asking them to buy something from me. So I like to ask a couple questions like, oh my gosh, that's so awesome. Thank you for liking this post that I did, my skinny jean post. Oh my gosh, that always gets a lot of comments and likes. I'm just curious, are you currently on some sort of fitness journey or weight loss journey right now? What are some of your goals? And I can direct you properly to the right information. You see, there's a difference in that, you guys. It's actually me giving a damn about my prospect. It's me giving a damn about what it is that they really want. It's not about me just making a sale, and I want them to feel that. And your people need to feel that from you as well. Because if you were like, oh yeah, here's my link, go buy it, they're gonna be like, and you're not gonna get anything from that. Very rarely are you gonna get something from that. So typically I like to make sure that I act as if I'm like their guide, leading them to the best information, which you should be, leading them to the best information that's going to meet and serve their goals best versus just trying to jam sales down people's throats or buy links down people's throats. So I like to find out a little more information. If somebody's interested in learning how to make money from social media or make money from home, I'll find out a little bit as to why. Like, are they working towards some sort of, monetary goal right now? Or are they working towards, maybe a vacation? Or what are they looking to do with their extra little bit of money that they can make from their laptop? If you had an extra $500 or $1,000 coming in, what would you do with it? I'm curious, what am I helping you towards? I want to know. And then once those people feel like you have their best interest at heart, oh my goodness, the gates open up for all possibilities of you to make your sale. But that's not where the ball stops, guys. It's not about you making the sale. It's about you helping people, especially right now, right? So, and then I typically, like I said before, I typically get a commitment before I put them into my ATM group or I share my presentation information. So I find out like, hey, how soon can you carve out 15 minutes? And if they say, I can do that tonight, then I'll put them in the information. If they're like, oh, I can't do that for like 2 weeks, I circle back in 2 weeks, then put them through the information. All right. The art of asking questions. You guys heard of this before? I think we all have, but I think it's really important. Who has heard of form before? Drop in the comment section if you've heard of form. Some people haven't, some people haven't. I've been doing network marketing for so long. I think everyone's heard of form, but there's still a lot of people out there who haven't. And this is a great acronym to help you start conversations with people. Like, what do I say? How do I have a conversation? I'm kind of an introverted person. I don't know how to have conversations. So I started thinking about acronym form. F stands for family, O stands for occupation, R stands for recreation, and M stands for motivation or message. So you could ask them about their family, if they have them, if you see on their profile or their Instagram or whatever. What do they do for a living, their occupation? What do they like to do for fun? That's one of my favorite questions to ask people. What do you like to do for fun? Message and motivation, like basically like what motivates them, like what are they trying to accomplish? What's their vision in life that they're trying to accomplish right now? So those are some good little conversation starters when you're trying to be human first with people. Without questions, you have nothing to base your pitch or presentation on. Some people come to me and they say, Tanya, I had this prospect and they were so interested. And then I shared the information with them and they disappeared and they left. And as a marketer, professional marketer, I know the reason for that is we have not presented in a way or taken the time to learn what is most important about our prospect. And we have not painted the vision of how what we're sharing with them can actually help accomplish that with them. So this is why it's very important to get into their world a little bit and find out what they truly want. And you as the marketer, the visionary, help them to picture it in their lives in helping them to get that. Now, if you do that, it doesn't matter if you're selling peanut butter or jelly beans, they will attach to what it is that you present to them if they feel and they truly see from you that it can help them capture their vision or their needs or their wants. I always say this all the time. You could be selling peanut butter and people would buy and sell peanut butter with you till the cows go home if they knew for sure, because you painted the vision, that it could help them get what they wanted. All right? So, yes. And then here's a question that I'd like to ask people, or a couple of questions that I like to ask people. What's your end game? Like, what are you trying to do right now? And then I also like to say, hey, what's your plan for that? These are really good conversation users. I was at a restaurant a while ago, probably a year or two ago, and had the best conversation I'll never forget with the server. And yes, you guys, I talk to people offline too about my business. If I find that the person is somebody I would enjoy working with and they would be a great business partner of mine, right? So you meet people all the day. It doesn't have to just be on social. Had great service at this Thai restaurant. And the server was so good. He was exceptional. And so when it came time to hand us the bill, he gave us the bill and I said, I can't remember what his name was. It was Ben or something like that. It was a common name. I said, Ben, first of all, I asked his name. I said, Ben, I just have to say, you gave phenomenal service today, and I just want to thank you for that. It's rare that we go out and get this great of service. You are definitely passionate about what you do, and you're really good with people. I'm just curious, obviously, because you are so good at what you do here, this can't be like your end game, right? So what is it that you're working towards? Like, what's your vision? What are you working towards in life right now? Why do you have this job? And he's like, well, I actually have 4 jobs right now. And I said, holy crap, 4 jobs? And he's like, yeah, I'm trying to save enough money to open up a mechanic shop. And I said, okay, that's interesting. Why a mechanic shop? He's like, I love cars, and my dad was a mechanic, and I love working on cars. I want to do that for a living. That's a complete passion of mine. And I said, that is really interesting. That's cool. So how much money do you need to do that? And he said some number, I can't remember what it was. And I said, okay, so you're working 4 jobs. What's your plan for getting to that point? Like, when's the time frame? And he said, it's like, actually, I haven't figured it out. I don't know. I'm just saving my money right now and flying by the seat of my pants. And I said, okay, well, that's cool. I said, if there was a way, I'm like, you just did so great today, and I just want to thank you. I have an online business, and I'm always looking for talent, and you definitely have talent, and I have no idea if what I do would be a fit for what it is that you're looking for right now, but I believe that it might be. If there was a way that I could maybe help you get to your end goal a little bit faster, maybe not have to have 4 jobs and juggle them all at the same time, and there was a way that you could make some extra money from home using social media, and I can show you how to do that, would you be at all interested in learning more about what that could look like and possibly partnering together? And he was like, yes, absolutely. And we exchanged details, right? And I said, okay, I'll connect with you and I'll show you some information. If it's a fit, great. If it's not, that's cool too. But you just did amazing today, and I just want to say thank you. And do you guys see in there, I use everything that I just trained on, all right? You can use this offline, you can use this online, doesn't matter. And so it's all about, I genuinely complimented his service. He was listening, he loved it. I found out what he wanted and what he needed, and then I made what I have fit what he wanted. See, a lot of us right now are trying to get people to fit into what we want. It's not about fitting into what we want. It's our thing, finding out how it can fit into what they need or what they want. I hope that was really powerful for you guys. If it was, let me know if this is valuable in the comment section below. All right, so I want to switch off for one moment here. Let me get my technology straightened up for you guys here. Stop screen share, and then just me. Sorry, I talk to myself. Do you guys talk to yourself at home too when you're working? I talk to myself all the time when I'm working. So John and Nadia right now, they're gonna be talking a little bit about, let's see, I think warming up the algorithm, commenting and getting more visibility. And we're gonna give you a pro tip. We've got an implementation session that you definitely don't wanna miss because it's going to be super powerful. Let me just get back, remove from stream, put you in stream. There we go.
Yes, beautiful. Okay, yeah, that was amazing.
So good.
So good.
Totally crushed.
Wow.
People were blown away.
Mind blown. How many of us need to meditate already?
And the scripts, some of you were asking, those scripts will be in Unit 1. But yeah, that was absolutely amazing and zero excuse for someone not to go out there and form some relationships.
Amen.
Have some conversations online or offline. And I think ultimately we can all appreciate the fact that this is what it's all about. Your network marketing. I mean, it's all about relationships. It's all about communication, building that trust, that rapport, identifying people that you would want to do business with, people that can get value from your product. And, it is a numbers game. But Tanya, you hit the nail on the head. You don't want to treat people like a number, right? You want to do a little, little research up front, check out their profile. It takes an extra 30 seconds, right? Like if someone just got a promotion at work, it's probably not the best time to see if they're open to an opportunity, but maybe you talk about the product. If someone, just got laid off work, I don't think you should approach them with the product. You should be approaching them with the business, right? Like, check out what they got going on. And you know what, right now, everybody, in my opinion, is open to a financial opportunity because most people are very uncertain about their financial future. Every business, everyone's affected by this. And I think it's a really good time to have these conversations. You got to double down, baby. Let's go. So we did have, by the way, during the break, 901 reach outs.
Oh, what?
That is unbelievably awesome. Over 900 reach outs in 15 minutes. So congratulations, everyone. Y'all crushed.
Amazing.
901 reach outs over the implementation session. I love it. Great job.
I love it.
Great job. Love it.
All right. So shall we dive into a couple of social media? What's happening? What are the trends? What should we know as marketers? And Tanya, I want to give you a heads up. I have some numbers that are fresh that my team just got to me. One of the things that we love to do is to be so on top of it, right? Because when you snooze, you lose, fluids, but you also lose effectiveness, right? And we never want to lose. So I want to bring that to you literally fresh right now, what's happening. So you guys catch this. This is really good to know. And by the way, I don't even need you to put my slides up. I think we can just do FaceTime. And that way, we don't need to stress you out with the slides. Now, I do want to tell you guys, we will make our slide deck available to you at the end of the day. So for those of us that want to go through the slides, and then I'll also include the statistics and some of the important algorithm updates that are good for you to see, right? I know some of us, we're visual learners and we just kind of like digest better, okay? Check this out, a couple of interesting facts. Last quarter of 2019, Disney Plus was the most downloaded app. Now, this is interesting because Disney, I don't know if you guys know this, but of course, this is a huge corporate enterprise. They're a media empire, and they own some of the biggest television networks like ESPN, ABC, Lifetime, History, FX, to name a few. And they were willing to lose billions of dollars to launch an app to compete with giants like Netflix.
Right.
So when we take a step back and we go, okay, how come is Disney competing with their own huge television networks, right?
They want residual income.
So what's happening is everything is moving towards live streaming. Right now they're saying that, hang on, let me find this. This is really interesting, right? But right now, leisure reading in the US is at an all-time low, yet television watching is at an all-time high. Every metropolitan city in America will have 5G this year. So internet is becoming faster. It's gonna be 4K video. Streaming is basically where it's at. So what does it mean to you and I as a marketer is if you were ever gonna reach the high of skill set when it comes to live video, now is the time. Now, here's another interesting statistic when it comes to algorithm, right? And what's happening in the App Store. 738 million downloads of the TikTok app last year. Now, some of you may be thinking, well, isn't it all kids? Actually, no. 49% of users are 35 years or older. Only 3.42% of marketers regularly use TikTok. All right, so let's kind of
You just kind of like
Breeze.
said it.
Okay.
But that means 97% of your competition, the competitors out there, the other marketers, 97% of them are not using TikTok yet.
Right.
So that's why we're big fans of it, because it is ground floor. And even if TikTok doesn't make it long term, like remember Snapchat was real popular and then everybody kind of stopped talking about it because Instagram and Facebook came out with their own version of stories. Well, the truth is, even if you were to say, well, Snapchat, didn't make it, but that form of communication did.
Right.
So even if TikTok is not that popular a year or two from now, because Instagram and Facebook and the other bigger social media platforms come out with their own version, that form of communication ain't going anywhere. Right? So it's something to learn. I don't want you all to get overwhelmed. You don't have to learn everything right away, but that could be one of those notes like Tanya talked about, something that you learn later on, or maybe next month that's your new project. But the point is, yes,
consumer behavior is shifting.
Yes.
And if you're gonna write anything down, here's what I would really jot down is in business and then marketing, money follows eyeballs.
Boom, that's it.
And if we want to stay cutting edge, how many of us, we love to be first on the platform or first on the trend, or
what does
we don't
Gary
want to
Vee
be
say?
the last behind.
What does Gary Vee say?
You got to be the first or you got to be the best.
That's right. On any
gotta
social
be the
platform.
first, or you got to be the best. So now that we kind of know where the consumer behavior is going, and we know that money follows eyeballs, we as marketers, smart marketers, we got to position ourselves in front of the eyeballs, right? Now, whether we're talking right now, Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook or TikTok, how many of us have seen that video? It's just dominating, right? And when we're talking about the algorithm, you guys know this, algorithm changes all the time. There's too many things that I don't want to dissect, but essentially, if you think of your marketing from the perspective of a platform, they're interested in keeping their users on the platform longer. So if you show up with content that is interesting, it's inspiring, you're doing a live video, we know that if you show up live, people are going to stay and watch 3 times longer. If your content is keeping the platform's users on the platform longer, the algorithm is going to give you more visibility. I mean, it's just that simple.
Yeah. Well,
that's kind of how I like to
let's also share TOP.
TOP, time on platform.
Yeah. So they want the user's attention. So they're partnering up with you. They want what you want, right? And look, I know the algorithm can be frustrating. How many of you have been frustrated by the algorithm? You're like, man, if I did that same post a year ago, it went viral, and this time got crickets. The truth is, you know, first of all, it's ever changing,
Yeah.
right? That's number one. Number two, there are a lot more platforms now,
Mhm.
right? Like Facebook was just killing it a couple years ago, especially for network marketing.
Yeah.
Like killing it. Is it still a great platform? Absolutely. But LinkedIn has really stepped up. Instagram has stepped up. You know, Snapchat got popular, and now TikTok's really popular. And then just on one platform, like Instagram, it used to be you just scroll and look through pictures. Now you've got the regular news feed, you've got the story news feed, you got IGTV, right? YouTube's got stories now. YouTube is gigantic. Pinterest. So just understand Pinterest.
Say it, don't spray
right?
it.
So luckily you're only impacted by that.
That's
But the truth is the algorithm is always changing.
right.
But people are always on these platforms and they're going to absorb something.
Yeah.
Whether it's a video, a story, something. So they're still on. It's just now there's a lot more competition. There's a lot more noise, a lot more distraction.
Yes.
So you have to continue to evolve and get creative. And the beauty is in the beginning, for those of you that don't have a large following, you don't have a large network, you can do a lot more connecting on the back end.
Mhm.
That's really the thing. Who cares how many views, likes, comments you get? Really, who cares? What matters is, are you getting results in your business? Don't forget that.
Yeah.
It ain't a popularity contest. You can't take likes to the bank, right? Hey, I got 17 likes on my last post. Like, can I get some money? No, it doesn't work that way. Unless you're a huge influencer, right? You're getting tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or millions of views on YouTube. You're not getting paid.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to get paid for back-end connection. So I know people that have a very teeny tiny following. They have 700 Facebook friends, don't have much of a following, but they're out earning people that have 70,000 followers, but they have no way of systemizing and monetizing, right? So just understand that the algorithm matters because attention equals money in the bank if you have a system, if you have the back end, right? It's all about attention. You know, she said Disney Plus was willing to lose billions, but the truth is the reason they're going to lose billions on the front end is because the back end, they want that residual, right? They want that reoccurring. What's it, $7 a month? They're coming out with their own TV shows, right? Like Marvel shows. It's genius. So the point is you have to continue to evolve and stand out, but none of it really matters as much as the back end connection. So just keep that in mind. And the truth is, if you're doing the back end work, right, the conversations, the birthdays, the one-on-one in Messenger, or even responding to the comments, right, like that is going to warm up the algorithm anyway. So maybe you're about to do a post, you're about to go live. Spend 15 minutes, but you want to warm up the algorithm, warm it up by 15 minutes beforehand, going and interacting and engaging with people. Like, I'll give you an example, specific example. If I know I'm about to go live and I feel like I got a good topic and I want to crush it, I'll post in my Instagram story, which is also connected to my Facebook story. I'll go respond to some of my other recent videos that I did in the comments and say, hey, I'm about to go live, and share the topic, going live at 1 o'clock, going live in 15 minutes, sharing the topic, and I'll drop that comment in a few other previous videos. Like I said, I'll share to my stories. I also have my Facebook group. I'll go share in there. Some of you have Facebook groups, some of you don't. But the point is, I'm letting people know ahead of time, and I'm going in and interacting with people on Messenger. I'm interacting on some of my previous posts, just warming up the algorithm before I go live, before I share something that's on my mind. Because at the end of the day, your job is to generate leads, right? Leads turn into prospects. And I love what Tanya said. Look at it like you're just friendly. You're friending people up. You're connecting with people. Human first, marketer second. And
I love it.
Sure.
All right, Tanya, I just sent you a text message. I actually do think it would be really valuable for us to show the slides. If you can, I'm going to start talking with the algorithm, things that are, important to actually also see, right? But let's get into the specific, you guys. There's a lot of noise right now on social. There's a lot going on. How do we stand out? We got to be really strategic. Now, know that tomorrow we're going to get a little bit more sophisticated with your overall content strategy, and super psyched about it. But in the meantime, I do want to keep it really simple. Okay, here we go. Facebook algorithm secrets. I would encourage you to save your most premium, we call it evergreen content, for your feed, okay?
Right.
Now your feed would be like your news feed, right? So on Facebook or on Instagram, I would even say post one piece of quality content on your news feed and then save everything else for your story. Also, I want you to keep in mind that sometimes it takes between 24 to 72 hours for your friends, for your followers to even see what you're posting, right? Because the way that the content is shown, it's not instantaneously. And that's why we like to say, use your best evergreen content. Evergreen means it's non-time sensitive, right? So as an example, let's say you have a big promotion you're doing with your company, 20% off, something really cool, maybe a little bit more promotional. I would save content like that for your story. And remember what John taught, where you can actually see, you can swipe up your story, you can see who is seeing that more promotional content in the story. Now, still go ahead and use the 80-20 rule, meaning 80% of the time that you show up, you want to go ahead and keep it lifestyle, keep it non-promotional, right? And 20% of the time, you want to pepper in those things where you're going to raise specific interest to generate those leads, right? Okay, don't use links in your descriptions. Be doing more stories. How many of you guys drop into the comments and share with us, are you doing stories on Instagram? Are you doing stories on Facebook? Did you connect your Instagram stories to auto post to your Facebook stories? That's a strategy that we utilize. So that way you can double task, right? You can create on Instagram for those of us that do have an Instagram account as well. And then it'll also load to Facebook, right? Now, if you don't have an Instagram, don't feel the urge. Do not unsubscribe from the urge right now to go start an Instagram, right? I'd rather for you to go start a TikTok before you start Instagram at the moment, based on the timing and based on the algorithm. The AI, artificial intelligence algorithm of TikTok right now is insane. And that's a platform where you can go viral. We're going to give you some examples tomorrow. Really, really cool. But listen, 62% of users say they become more interested in a product or business after they've seen it pop up in a story. And how many of you guys are noticing that Facebook and Instagram are putting more emphasis on stories?
Yep.
They're putting more emphasis on stories.
And when you're doing your stories, once a day, you should show up with FaceTime.
Yes.
Or you should talk for 15 seconds or a minute every day. Just find something to share, something insightful, a positive tip, anything that you can show up on, meaning the camera is recording your face, right? Do you have to do this? No, but it is suggested that if you're doing stories, that will help with your algorithm.
And we'll dive more into those strategies. Yeah. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss it. Okay. Avoid fishing for engagement. Okay. Now, this is an interesting one because we do want to keep an eye. You don't want to get ghosted. Same thing with if you're using hashtags, same rule applies. And it's a mega hashtag, right? If you're using stuff just to, essentially try to hack the algorithm and to be seen by a lot of people, or you're saying, hey, drop into the comments and say XYZ. Can you give a couple of examples?
It's better just to ask questions versus saying drop into the comments and let me know if you want my discount code.
Or click share.
Right? I mean, even when you drop, I notice even when I drop my link in the comments of a video, it just seems like the views stop. So there, because you got, again, go back to TOP, time on platform. They don't really want users leaving the platform to click on a link. Now, sometimes there's going to be, time and place for that, right? You got swipe up for Instagram, or you're promoting a YouTube video or a blog or an article. So there is a time and place for it, but just kind of play with it and pay attention. But anytime you're doing something promotional, anytime you're selling something, anytime you're referring them to something that takes them off the platform, it typically doesn't get as much exposure because these social platforms want to keep people on their platform and they want the users to have a good experience. So really they're saying what you're doing is giving their users a bad experience. Like I said, you're in this together. So just kind of keep that in mind. Responding to comments as soon as they come in to create a boost in visibility is good. Now, someone did ask me, I think it was Louise. Was that you, Louise? She asked me, is it really necessary to respond to every comment? For me, no, I don't do that. I think it's like, I feel like I have to force myself. Like if someone's like, boom, then I have to respond with like emojis. And then someone else is like, absolutely. And then I respond with, for me, I don't like that. I do love every comment typically,
Yes,
but responding to every comment.
Yeah, if it's a one-word comment.
Well, even if it's a one-word comment, sometimes I'll respond.
Okay.
But for me, I don't respond to every single comment. But here's what I'll also tell you. Sometimes I'll respond to like a few comments and then I'll come back later. This is a little pro tip. I'll come back later and start engaging again, like 15 minutes later, could be 2 days later. Why? Because it brings it back in the news feed. Not as aggressively as it used to, unfortunately, but it does bring those posts back in the news feed. And the people that already commented will sometimes get notified and it'll bring them back to the video or them back to the post. So just a couple little, pro tips there, little hacks.
Yeah.
But really leveraging multiple modalities, right? Live video, watch parties. How many of you are using watch parties? Those can be pretty effective. Not as effective as they were a year ago.
Yeah.
I'm noticing less response, but they still do get viewers. So if I have a really good video that I did over on my business page, or I did it 6 months ago and it did well, I can then do a watch party today because maybe I'm not in the mood to do a live video today, or it's too busy or whatever. Just for whatever reason, I don't have something to share, but I could go repurpose, right, a watch party from the past. Again, it could be, I did it yesterday on a different, different place on Facebook, or it's just an older video. So it can be really powerful.
I see a lot of questions come out. Okay, here's what I want to address real quick, you guys. So is it better to link IG with Facebook? Does LinkedIn have an algorithm, right? What's the difference between the post and the stories? Okay, so let's talk like this. There's algorithm is everywhere, right? Now, some platforms like LinkedIn right now, algorithm is more so on your side because there's less quality content.
Yep.
And they're really, it's LinkedIn right now is like Facebook in 2013.
Yeah.
Right? Do you guys remember the good times on Facebook when everything would post? I remember we would do a live video and it would organically get tens of thousands of views.
But real quick, before you say that, so LinkedIn technically has a better opportunity because there's less people posting.
Yes.
But
yes,
you're also starting from scratch. Many of you are like, I don't get a ton of engagement on LinkedIn. I get way more on Facebook. But if someone were to start in both places and build up and put as much effort in, you would get more bang for your buck on LinkedIn, and it's a more professional network. We're not saying to go to LinkedIn. We're not saying not to be, but just so you can understand it.
Yeah,
It's
so
a really good
supply
thing
demand.
to point out.
Yeah, supply demand, right? Now, also here, there's different types of thoughts. Should you post a post on Instagram that also posts to Facebook? Well, before we used to say, don't do it, right? Because if I follow you on both platforms and I see the same exact content, I'm thinking I'm just going to unfollow one or the other, right? But now we also know if I follow you on all these different places, organic reach is maybe 5 to 10% at best.
Yeah,
so most
best.
of your followers are not seeing your content.
Right.
But this is where the conversation, I think, becomes more valuable, is the stories is where it's at, right? You can build width and build a ton of like new eyeballs to attract to you, but then you're going to build the depth of those relationships with your stories. And ultimately, those are the people, right, that you're going to be attracting to your product, your business, your service.
And pay attention to what's getting great engagement on your stories or public posts. Because what we'll do, just to tell you what we do, I'll do a post on Facebook. And if it does well, we'll take that same content. Number one, I'll use it again, right? I'll share that same exact post maybe months down the road, maybe a year from now because of the memories. But also I can then post that on Twitter, on LinkedIn. We can turn it into a screenshot that we can post on Instagram in my main feed. So you'll notice a lot of the stuff that we post on Facebook, if it does well, we'll repurpose it on other platforms and reuse it again down the road. So pay attention, maybe even create like a folder on your phone or on your computer to keep track of all that. It's a little bit advanced, but
it is a little
paying
advanced.
attention is, look, because here's the thing. What works well on Facebook is going to work well on other platforms. And right now, man, I think there's a lot more people that are online, that are on social media, and they're looking for positivity. They're looking for someone to uplift them and make them laugh, crack a joke. We want to be sensitive to what's going on, but we also know that, like, you know, people are still online and they're still laughing and having fun. And my posts that do the best are typically either controversial or they're funny, right? Those are the ones that
now, keep in mind, whenever you do need to show up and share, for example, Mike says he blogs. So once a week, right? You're going to share a link. So it's okay to know walking into when you post something like that, it's going to get less views, but you're going to get the interested ones to come over to your blog.
Right.
So I also think it could be cool to share in your stories. Maybe you do a little bit of a preview, what it's all about, and then you drag them to the blog. There's so many different things.
Can we say one of the things here? This is one more thing I just want to add. You can also ask questions, right? Questions do really well. So you could ask a question like, how many of you would like some help with ABC? You know, how many of you would like a free training on XYZ? And if a whole bunch of people are engaging and responding and saying yes, you know, you create a YouTube video, a blog post. Again, this is more advanced, but then you could share the link with all those individuals, or maybe you have a Facebook group and you say, hey, based on the response, I'm going to do a live video. Like I've done, posts where I'll ask a question. Would you like me to teach you how to get a ton of leads on Instagram, or teach you some of my best, prospecting questions? And based on which one's getting the best response is what I'll do a live video on. And then sometimes they both get a good response. So I know that I've got a good video for later today and tomorrow. So having conversations and allowing your audience to engage and express themselves is a really good idea too.
Love it. Okay, so let's get you grounded, because I know this conversation can be a little overwhelming, yes? So let's get you grounded in the fact that, first of all, make sure that before you take on too many platforms, you know your bandwidth. I love that conversation of the bandwidth. I like to think through, okay, let me master one platform at any given time. I also know that marketing is an art and a science. Like, for an example, inside the bootcamp, we come to you with our best formulas and strategies that work for us, best practices.
Right.
But at the end of the day, you're also marrying your brand and your audience with these best practices. So you want to play with it too. Don't be afraid to experiment. You put it out there and see what works, and then go, oh, that's cool. It didn't do as well as I thought. I wonder why that is. If you bring that mindset of curiosity, and how can you show up maybe a little differently? If you posted on Instagram and then auto post to Facebook, does it work for you? Do you like it? Because sometimes I also think at the end of the day, let's just get the content out there, but keep an eye, maybe once a month you do an audit. And once a month you go in and you evaluate your news feed on whatever platforms you're posting stuff, and you identify, okay, well, this did really, really well. Maybe these were my top 5 posts. You got to show up more with those. And what didn't do so well, then you tweak, you rearrange the way that happens. Again, tomorrow, we're going to get into more strategies. We're going to give you a lot more examples, for business, but also for value. And we'll get you 1, 2, 3 ABCs on how to do it, right? Okay. So step 1, when it comes to video, do stories. For those of us that are not yet doing video, doing FaceTime, start with stories. Then step 2, experiment with entertaining video. Experiment with entertaining video, because we know 80% of people on social media, they're bored. So anytime you show up with entertainment, that's always going to do well. And then step 3, create longer form educational videos. Those are gonna be how you also build that trust and dive deeper with the people that are your lifers. All right. Now, on that note, Tanya, do we have a little bit of time to cycle back to the lead gen conversation, or should we do that after lunch? Is this on?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's completely up to you guys, what you guys want to do.
Okay.
Let's just do these last couple.
I would say we have our implementation session and lunch right now, because
It's 2:30.
I think that worked perfectly with how we just how we just wrapped. I like that.
Perfect. Yeah, let's leave it at that because we already covered this actually.
Okay.
Yes.
Sure.
Okay, beautiful. So implementation, Tanya, can I throw it to you so you can give instructions on the implementation session during lunch?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so let's talk about the implementation session. Okay, so I'm going to actually throw out 2 implementation sessions, 2 things that we can do for the implementation session. So I would say that we're gonna break for some lunch, but I want to get you guys doing something so we can always eat and implement at the same time, right? And for the you guys are asking some of these questions about, like how to do an Instagram story, how to do a Facebook story, how to do a watch party. YouTube is perfect to show you how to do that. If we have the technology to actually like show you, we could, but we don't. It would just look all messy. But if you go to YouTube and you go how to do a watch party, find the most recent YouTube video and it'll show you what a watch party is. But basically on any video, pretty much on Facebook, instead of sharing, there's a little like start watch party little video. Not in groups, but like pages and profiles and that you can do this. And then you can just start a watch party and it'll ask you, where do you want to broadcast the watch party? And it'll take that video that's a video and make it look like it's live on your profile or wherever you share it. And so these are really good if you're doing like a company event and your company is doing something on their page and you may want to broadcast it. But go to it's just an idea, okay? It's just a modality to getting some content out there, right? Let's just start with this. So we really, really want you guys to do your why Facebook Live today. We want you to grab the resource on that, the PDF. And there's some really simple steps. You know, again, like the why, what the why video is going to have. And we want you to, what can we say, you guys? Could we say either do a video and post it or go live? Or we're going to be hard and say this is a boot camp, go live. What do you think?
I like live.
I do too. I mean, because we just talked about how much streaming is taking over everywhere. Let's do live. And it doesn't have to be intense. 3-5 minutes.
Focus on teaching. Focus on sharing. Focus on like maybe you had some notes from today and you just wanted to go live and share some of what you're learning and you're so excited to implement this in your business. It's just something simple, 5 minutes, you know, just a recap of your biggest takeaways. So you're not even selling anything. You're just sharing, you're teaching, you're talking about your experience. You know, if you've never done a video, so man, I'm super nervous, I'm super excited. I mean, just keep it real simple. It doesn't need to be a 25-minute video. It can be like 5 minutes. Yeah. Just have fun with it. Smile, look at the camera dot, and act like you're talking to one person.
Rebecca said no makeup on. I've done lives before and stories. And I'm like, hey guys, I'm not wearing any makeup. All right, you're getting me real and raw today, and here's what I want to share with you. I would suggest using the current situation of the opportunity that you guys have right now to basically you know, be grateful for your opportunity to be able to learn how to grow your business on social media and the fact that you can still earn a living from your phone and the internet based on these crazy times. And, you know, just talk about what you're doing and you can decide if you want to have a call to action or not. You can say, hey guys, you know, if you haven't yet learned how to use social media to help you create a plan B for your family or how to grow a side business from home from your laptop. I don't know if that's at all remotely interesting to you or beneficial to you right now, but I just had to get out here and share that I'm really grateful that I did say yes to something that allowed me to learn how to use social media to help me grow my family income as far as a plan B goes, especially in this time. I just want to share some love with you. I just want to share with you guys what I'm doing. And I'm in this really cool boot camp today. One of our challenges in the boot camp was to go live and let you guys know what we're doing. And hey, here I am, no makeup on, whatever the case might be, have fun with it. And just say, hey guys, I just want to just send some love and light out into the interwebs for everybody that's going through this tough time together. But hey, we've got this and we come out the other side, make it positive, you know, boom. You could have it be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, heck, I don't care. Just go live. And remember what the mountain said, the worst case scenario, you can delete it, all right? But I wouldn't recommend it, all right? So that's what I would say. And if you have time, I'm going to challenge you guys as well to use a couple of the scripts that I shared earlier to connect with some of those people that are now commenting and liking on the post that you did earlier this morning. Somebody in the group had over 100 likes already on their post that they did this morning. That's huge. We've got a lot of work that we can do with those people, a lot of conversations that we can start. So make it a goal to start 2 to 5 conversations on your lunch break as well. Get nourished, grab a coffee. We've got a lot more to come. We're going to post everything again in the unit section. And we're going to post a Q&A thread at the very top of the announcement section. So if you have a specific question, we want to keep the training rolling as much as possible. But if you have a specific question, post it in that thread, and then we will make sure to do a Q&A today as well to make sure that you feel that you have everything you need. But we are not over yet at all. We are just getting started. So is there anything that you guys would like to add, John, Nadia, before we break and everyone gets started on their implementation and eating some food?
I love it. You crushed it. That was so good. Oh my goodness.
Okay, guys. What time are we back at specifically? Let's make sure that we know based on our little bit of shift of schedule today.
Okay. So I'm thinking an hour break. So do we want to do 3:45?
Yeah, 3:45 is perfect. Eastern.
3:45 East Coast time. We are back in action, you guys. All right. All right. Crush it. I'm so excited for you guys. Make sure you get some.
Great job, you guys. Give yourself a virtual hug. One of these. Or if you're married, put them to work. Say, listen, you don't even know what's going down over here, but I am creating a vision that will get the whole world excited. Massage my shoulders. Go ahead.
Yes. And
got it.
Yeah, Kelly, so summary on the homework for go live with your why video, okay? And I just kind of gave you a little bit of an example. If you need to rewind this live broadcast, you can too, but do your why video that we just talked about in session 1, and then reach out to start 2 to 5 conversations with some of the people that liked or commented on the post today that you did earlier, using the training that I talked about and a little bit of the scripts that I talked about this morning as well. Okay, so we'll see you guys at 3:45 East Coast time, back in action. Get nourished, get hydrated, feel good for the afternoon, because we will bring the this afternoon. And I figured out our technology, so I'm really excited and fired up about that. All right, you guys, we'll see you soon.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for coming, or indeed for tuning in to these daily updates. I want to introduce, I'm sure you know, Jenny Harris, Deputy Chief Medical Officer for England, and you know Patrick Balance, Chief Scientific Advisor. I want to tell you where we've got to in our national fight back against the coronavirus. Today, the Scientific Advisory Group for Emergencies met to discuss the latest evidence on the spread of the virus and the effects of the measures we have already taken to slow its spread. And Patrick is going to update us in a second about that. I want to repeat that everyone must follow the advice to protect themselves and their families, but also, more importantly, to protect the wider public. So stay at home for 7 days if you think you have the symptoms. Remember the two key symptoms: a high temperature, a continuous new cough. Whole household to stay at home for 14 days if one member of that household thinks she has the symptoms. Avoid all unnecessary gatherings, pubs, clubs, bars, restaurants, theatres, and so on. Work from home if you can. Wash your hands. And we've already announced in the last few days, we will massively scale up our testing capacity in the weeks ahead so that we hit 25,000 tests a day. Huge public information campaign is being rolled out so people get all the information they need. We need to protect ourselves and others. We're asking retired healthcare professionals to come back and help us cope, help the NHS to cope with this unprecedented challenge. And we will continue, as we have from the beginning, to do the right thing at the right time and to follow the best scientific advice. And we come today to the key issue of schools, where we've been consistently advised that there is an important trade-off. And so far, the judgment of our advisors has been that closing schools is actually of limited value in slowing the spread of the epidemic. And that's partly because, counterintuitively, these schools are actually very safe environments. And in this disease, in this epidemic, children and young people are much less vulnerable. And hitherto, the advice has been that we should keep schools open if possible in order to reduce the pressure on the NHS and on all other public services. But I think you'll agree that I've always been very clear that this is a balanced judgment and one that we've kept under constant review. So looking at the curve of the disease, and looking at where we are now, we think now that we must apply downward pressure, further downward pressure on that upward curve by closing the schools. So I can announce today, and Gavin Williamson is making a statement now in the House of Commons, that after schools shut their gates from Friday afternoon, they will remain closed for most pupils, for the vast majority of pupils, until further notice. And I'll explain what I mean by the vast majority of pupils. The objective is to slow the spread of the virus, and as I say, we judge that this is the right moment to do that. But of course, as I've always said, we also need to keep the NHS going and to treat the rising number of cases. So we need health workers who are also parents to continue to go to work. And we need other critical workers with children to keep doing their jobs too, from police officers who are keeping us safe to the supermarket delivery drivers, social care workers who look after the elderly and who are so vital. We'll be setting out more details shortly about whom we mean in these groups. So we therefore need schools to make provision for the children of these key workers who would otherwise be forced to stay home. And they will also need to look after the most vulnerable children. This will mean that there will, of course, be far fewer children in the schools, and that will help us to slow the spread of the disease. And these measures are crucial to make sure that as I say, the critical parts of the economy keep functioning and public services keep functioning. So we're simultaneously asking nurseries and private schools to do the same, and we're providing financial support where it's needed. We're making provisions to supply meals and vouchers for children eligible for free school meals. And where some schools are already doing this, I want to make it clear that we will reimburse the cost. And of course, this does mean that exams will not take place as planned in May and June, though we will make sure that pupils get the qualifications they need and deserve for their academic career. Now, I know that these steps will not be easy for parents or for teachers, and for many parents, this will be frustrating, and it will make it harder for them to go out to work. And of course, that's one of the reasons that we haven't wanted to go ahead. And that's why we're now working on further measures to ensure that we support not just businesses, but also individuals and their families to keep our economy going, as Rishi Sunak, the Chancellor, outlined yesterday. I also need to remind parents, as we've already advised, that children should not be left with older grandparents or older relatives who may be particularly vulnerable and fall into some of the vulnerable groups. And I know that's going to be difficult too. And I want to thank families for their sacrifice at this difficult time. And I want to thank the whole country for the efforts that people are making to comply with these measures. I particularly want to thank teachers, head teachers, all the support staff who keep schools going, who are going to be able to make these exceptional arrangements work for the benefit of us all. By looking after the children of key workers, they will be a critical part of our fight back against coronavirus. And as I've said, we will take the right steps at the right time, guided by the science. We believe the steps we've already taken, together with those I'm announcing today, are already slowing the spread of the disease, but we will not hesitate to go further and faster in the days and weeks ahead. And we will do whatever it takes.